Hi everyone, welcome to episode 145 of the Yarnivore Podcast. I am Sadie, also known as Blue Ruin on Ravelry. We shoot stars on Plurk, Sadie Ruin on Twitter and Instagram, and I will be your host. Messing with the lighting again. See, I'm not as up as the Fat Squirrel. I don't have blackout curtains because, quite frankly, then I have to get out my sewing machine, and a whole debacle will ensue. And then I have to put curtains up. There's blinds, but hopefully this works. As you can see, the hair is a new color. We are now blue-green. It's actually green, but it went blue in the front a little. I don't know. It does the trick. It does the trick. It's what I had. Because if you've ever bought weird hair color, you know that you only use a smidgen of it, or like half a can, and then you have the rest left. Well, I have half cans of like a billion things, so I just use whatever I have on hand, and it was either going to be this, or blue, or purple. So I decided to go green. Because I no longer live in Saskatchewan, so this has no implications. In Saskatchewan, it has implications that I'm a Rough Rider fan, which is Canadian Football League, CFL. And, yeah, not a Rough Rider fan. So, there you have it. I'm going to edge you up a little. Just a little. There. I'm sorry if you're motion sick, but the top of my head was cutting off, the bottom of my boobs was hanging out. So, somewhere in between. This works better. It's easier for me to hold things up. Anywho, I guess I should jump right on in. Hi, Bebop. Hi, Bebop. Bob brought his bone. He's going to chew his bone and be a good little puppy. Because that's how we roll here in the house. It is the 25th of February. I believe. Yeah, because yesterday was the 24th. Yesterday was an update, and yesterday was the 24th. That's the only reason I know these things. We can jump right on in. How about we do this a little differently? I'll show you my works in progress, and then I'll show you finished objects, blah, blah, blah. Let's change it up, baby. Change it up. I'm making changes on the fly. 'Cause that's how I roll, apparently. So, what have we seen here? I'll put this down here. I have a lot of stuff, just FYI, in the cute birdie bag from Fat Squirrel. I have worked a little more on the No Mr. Bond, I Expect You to Die, which you saw last week. It's on my Chiagu 8, which is a 5mm needle. I have finished the first repeat of the pattern now, so you can actually see what's going on. That looks really cool, actually. I'll pull it closer. As you can see, there are pearl and knit rows interspersed. It's a lot of texture. Having said that, you're only ever working one yarn at a time. It's a technique called mosaic knitting, I believe. It is my first time doing mosaic knitting, and I am loving the pattern. I am having to suck it up and print out the pattern, though, because I can't stare at my iPad and knit at this. I can stare at my iPad and knit at the same time, but the thing is, Titanfall is out. No, Titanfall is coming out. What's out now? Oh, something just... Thief came out today. And Titanfall's coming out soonish. And Castlevania Lord of Shadows 2. Which means hubby's going to be gaming a fair bit. And when he's gaming on the television, I'm watching Netflix on my iPad, because that's how we roll in this house. So if I'm watching Netflix on the iPad, it makes it hard to like switch to a pattern. So I'm going to have to suck it up and print this one out so I can keep working on it while I'm watching my Netflix. Yep, because that's how I roll. But the pattern is coming out great. I am knitting it on vintage, Barocco Vintage, regular in gray, and burnt orange heather. Needless to say, it's a very involving pattern, so of course this is not first when you wake up in the morning or when you go right to bed. It's not what you want to do. But aside from that, it's a great knit. I finished one repeat. Now that I know what I'm doing and now that I know how it works, And there's the back for you. There's a stranded at the back. Nothing big. See, looks good from the front though. Enjoying it. Enjoying it. One repeat. That's all I got done this week. We live with that. Eventually, it will get done. Hopefully, before he's deployed. Dear, it's the middle of June. Here, let me give you a scarf. Take it with you to the tropical weathers. What else? Oh, yes. The socks in the puppy bag. I started the second one. You saw the first one. The first one's done. First one's done. It fits my foot. Here's my little short row heel, because I'm lame. I was debating with my friend doing a true afterthought heel. That did not happen. I'm sorry, I am not that much of a rock star. But the first sock is done, and I have started the second. Ta-da! Just finished the toe. Now I'm on the straightaway knitting. This is on Hi US 1 2.25 millimeter needles. It is out of Gail's Art, her Sherlock colorway. I spun it out of the BFL 15% nylon, 85% BFL superwash. It turned out like this. This is one sock ball. I got a sadistic amount. Of course, you got 6 ounces to do it. So, like, if you actually spin a sock weight, you get way more yardage than you probably need. So, Mom's going to end up with a pair after I'm done these. Because from the first sock, which is actually quite tall, I still have this much left over, as you recall. So, yes. I used the thingy, the cast on. It's either from Judy or Jenny or Junie, whatever. I know Bella Socks really enjoyed the Judy Jenny. The Jenny Judy. So, that's the one I used. And I will use the others bind off. There's this one surprisingly stretchy and one's magic. Either way, that's how far I've gotten on the toe. Because apparently I'm jumping around like nobody's business. I have the attention span of a newt. So, the thing that saw a lot of work was the Less is More cardigan. I finished the body. Shall we all dive surprise right now? I finished the body. The bottom's rolling a bit. That'll block out. It's not a big deal. So, from top to bottom, we have Zombie Flannel by No Makers. Mixtape by Nest. This is also by Nest, and I didn't look up what it is. I'm sorry, I'm a bad person. Finishing off with As You Wish by Highland Handmaids. And I picked up the sleeve. And I am probably not going to work on the sleeve until I order new needles, because these are like, and I have no idea why I have one pair of 3.75 needles. I have 4 pairs of US 4s. I've got 1s and 0s and 1.5s and 2s and 3s coming out of my WizWaz. Like, I got those. I got the 5s covered. I got the 5.5s covered. I have one pair 3.75, and they're the Susan Bates. And there is way too much memory in this to be doing, to be magic looping a sleeve. Let alone that, but to be magic looping a sleeve on clearly not the appropriate size of needles. Or length of cord. And I can do the traveling cable, but it's equally as annoying, so I'm just not. I'm gonna buy some needles. Until I buy needles, this is as far as it's getting. But I did pick up the arm. It is pretty much ready to be color changed right now. To start the color changing into the second nest, because I'm starting with the first nest. I have a lot left over of all of these, and I will probably still have a lot left over. But yeah, there you have it. It's relatively thin. I'm fine with that. I'm debating. You're supposed to do an I-cord. I may just pick up and do a couple rows of garter and then sew a zipper on. That makes more sense to me. Makes more sense to me. Mostly because my I-cords tend to be really tight and like as if I needed bunching up in my front. bunch front. I don't need a bunch front, okay? I need space. I need room to grow. I need blossoming. So, yeah. Probably going to go the route of taking the garter band from the bottom and just doing it up the front on either side, and then sewing the zipper into that. At which point I will have to break up my sewing machine, so maybe you'll get blackout curtains then. And we've all noticed the blip problem has started. So, it's available on YouTube, it's available on Blip through the blog. It's not available on iTunes. You can download YouTube videos. You'll have to forgive me. I also have this menu bag came last night. It's from Seashore Sharon because she's a rock star, and it's got coffee. It's covered in coffee. Oh my god. Love this bag. Love it. Although I'm thinking I might usurp it from knitting and use it for storing fiber because it's very standy. Is that a word? It's very standy. It stands well. And I think it would be good for storing the fibers. And inside of it are the Puppy Love socks. Ta-da! The purple is a lot brighter than it's coming out here. Such is the case of recording here. On Chiagu Zero's 2.0mm needles. Of course, this is my baddie sock base. And there for the hubby. Got a little bit to go. I'm not sure if I'm going to do alternating heels and toes so he can have a longer cuff, because he does prefer a longer cuff. Basically right up into under the calf, and he has size, well, 11-inch feet. I don't know what that is in men's, this size something or other, but they're 11 inches. So quite the bit of yarn. And when I do a taller cuff and I do longer foot, I'm querulous as to if I should do an alternating heel and toe just so I can knit it longer. I don't know. Don't know. Coffee. Jelly donut coffee. So those are the things that are currently on the needles. Currently. I have finished objects, which is kind of funny. And I would like to thank everyone for their kind words about the upcoming deployment. Still not chuffed about it. Probably won't ever be. Just because it's a year long. This is not like, you know, he's going away for 3 months or he's going away for 6 months. He's going to be on a ship for 6 months. No, we're just transplanting him into the middle of it. I signed on for this. I didn't exactly sign on to be stranded in the middle of Minnesota, but we'll make it work. It's not a big deal. It's gonna work. We've done distance. It's not a big deal. Just keep telling myself that, and eventually it'll be true. At least he'll be here for our anniversary, which is kind of nice. However, this leads into him going away. Leads into my finished object. Ish. Finished objects-ish. I'm sorry, but I'm having strap issues. You're used to it. So, a while ago, I was working on the mitered blanket that I do out of scrap squares, and then I was working on those squares because I have watched one too many episodes of Knitting in Circles, and subsequently have a couple of squares. And the hubby inquired and said, "You should make a blanket for me before I go." He tried to retract the statement after saying it, but you know, once you get a thought in your head or a bee in your bonnet, you're just up and running with it. So I was like, yeah, I could do that. I can finish a blanket before he goes. That's not hard. I have enough scraps. I almost do. I probably will, because I'm going to be knitting regular things in the middle, but... So, I said, do you want the diagonal one, or do you want the squares one? He wanted the squares one. because that'll be easier to make his bed in case if there's an inspection. Still learning the whole Navy ease, if you will. So, it will be rectangular. It will be made out of squares. So, I did some squares this week. 7. We did the math, and it has got to be 10 wide, and it's going to be 12 high minimum, which is 120 squares. So I have one row, and I almost have the second row done after this week. So this is, and these are all the 9-inch free square, or free blanket square or something. And when you sew this, when you sew your end in, these don't have the end sewn in because I'm lazy right now. When you sew the end in, it actually closes it up and makes it look less like a giant nipple. I have squares to prove it. So this one is, I believe Freshwater Pond is the colorway name. It is another Crafty Girl in the strong sock. And since the hubby tried to steal the socks I made out of that, it's a good thing. This is Post Yarn in the Seattle Coffee Blues. Did a review of their yarn. It is 100% Cordale, I believe. It's a great yarn. I was actually wearing the socks I knit out of this while I was knitting this. I did run out of yarn on the bind off. It's no big deal. It's going to end up seamed in anyway, because I'm going to mattress stitch them all together. So I just picked a color that kind of matched. So that's 2. Then I did this one. Again, I seem to run out of yarn like right at the very tail end of it, and it doesn't really matter because I'll work it in. This is the Chinatown Apple Dream in Color, and then I forget what the top one is. It's also a Dream in Color. It's a green one, but they work well together. So that's 3. This is Numa Numa Doppio. Forget what the colorway was called, but I knit his wedding socks out of this. I also knit the Strider socks. Strider socks. It's very soft and smishy. So that's 4. I knit this one, which is Socks That Rock Lightweight in the Tide Pool colorway, I believe. This one, which is a mashup. The center is Calf Pal by Bad Amy. The outer rim is Socks That Rock Lightweight in the Ruby Red Slippers. And the last one, which I ran out of yarn about 2/3 of the way through the bind off, so again I just added in a color that would work. And this is Trick or Treat by Vesper, and that's 7. And I have another one done from before, so I have 8. I have 10 for the first row, 8 for the second row, so 11 more rows to go. You're gonna be seeing these buggers till June. So deal with that. I'm sure you will. Not that he'll need a blanket, tropics and all, but you can put it on his bed and it'll remind him of us, and I'm sure at some point during the making of it I will end up knitting cat hair into it, and it'll be like having the pets with him. The big debate is, who will miss him more, me or Bebop? It is a race between the two of us, because we fight over him all the time. We don't fight. Bebop wins. Spinning. I have some finished spinning. I didn't show it to you last week, and I should have. Ta-da! It's on the Nitty Naughty. This is the Happy Halloween 2 bow legs by HR Knits. There's your store. It's a merino linen Angelina, 76 grams. I got 350 yards. I would wager it's a sport weight. It has not been washed or blocked. I spun it on my Turkish drop spindle from Subterranean Woodworks, and then I plied all of them together on my Queen Bee. And at some point I will wash this. I'm being lazy about the washing right now. Mostly because then I have to use my drying rack, and my drying rack is being used for dyeing. Go figure. Okay. Spinning? Yes. Needlepoint. Needlepoint. I got a bigger Q-snap. I went out and got the 17 by 17 because I just decided I preferred that. So now I can fit the whole sampler on. I finished February. If I hold it up back here, if I put my hand behind it, it looks a lot better. So February is done, January is done. I have to do this border. The bottom's done, you can't see it, it's rolled under. The entirety of the border down this side and over to the about here is done. So really, I'm doing okay. I may have the border finished by the end of March. I don't know. And it really doesn't matter right now. I'm not giving myself any sort of deadline because at this point it's completely arbitrary. And I'm fine with being arbitrary. I have no problem with that. I just, deadlines and I do not make friends right now. Shop, updates, prep work. Into the miscellany. Snuggles. The Snuggles end Friday, so you better finish them up, get them posted up. I will close the thread at midnight on Friday or possibly Saturday morning. You have until whenever I close the thread. So if I forget to Friday night, you have until Saturday morning. It'll probably be a week after that before everything's tabulated and all of the winners are in. I will announce them not next show, but the show following. I'll give myself at least a week because it is a lot of back-end work to double check everything, make the spreadsheets, etc., etc. I do it out of love. I do it out of love. I got my Into the World colorway. So if you're in Into the World's club and you have not got it, you can just fast forward a little. This month's colorway is Courtly Frogs. I'm in the Luxe Club, which is 40-40-20 Merino, Superwash Merino Silk. It is gorgeous. Reds, greens, blues. Alice in Wonderland theme this year. Picked a good year to get in. The other thing I got, because I've wanted to try the shop out for a while, and there was, the owner of the shop was having 40% off sale. I got some We Will Tell You All of Our Secrets, which is available on Etsy, or We Will Tell You All of Our Secrets.com. She does natural dyeing, which of course I'm very interested in and do myself. She also hand sews all of her little tags, which are very pretty, and hand draws them. So it tells you. It is naturally dyed in the Coast Salish territories, Salish, of Vancouver, BC, autumn 2013. There's the most adorable little logo. This is the DK Merino, 225 meters, 247 yards, mordanted with alum, dyed with cochineal and logwood. Very pretty, very light purple. I'm entertained by the fact that she actually knows what territory she's in. Because in Canada, there is a discrepancy between who knows what territory or treaty area they're in. I also picked up some silk hankies, which come in these cute little thingies, thingamaboos. And this one, is really purple. It is onion skins and logwood, mordanted with alum and iron. There's 20 grams in here. And this one is lac with alum and iron. I've never dyed with lac, but it gives you this gorgeous purpley red. You have to pick some up and try it. And one's 21 grams and one's 20 grams, so I may spin them together to make something really like shiny and drapey and shiny, because they look good together, I think. So that was exciting. Also, if you missed the big announcement, if you're not on the SSK train, I completely understand, but if you are, the announcement has happened. I will be teaching there as well as vending, because apparently I'm all SSK all the time. And I will be teaching Fleece Processing 101 and Introduction to Drum Carding, Hand Carding, etc. So basically I can take you from the sheep to the point where you start spinning. bridge the gap with those two classes. So if you're attending SSK and those topics interest you, you should totally sign up for the classes. Or if you just want to take a class from me, because I hear I'm pretty cool. I'm going to start prepping my notes and stuff and making handouts. And can you tell I was teaching for a little bit? Old habits die hard. Dear University of Regina Faculty of Anthropology. Ha ha ha. No one will understand that except for like the 3 people who will. More power to them. This is not a particularly long show. For no particular reason other than that's all I've got to show for it. I did want to say thank you to Bella Socks for the pattern. That was very sweet of her. And of course for everybody's kind words. It's going to be an up and down ride until June, and then after that I've got SSK. I intend to sit in my pajamas through the month of August. I'll probably update the shop, etc. But I'm not putting on clothes for the entire month of August. It's going to be me in my pajama pants with my dog and my cats. That's basically what August is going to look like. You're going to see me. It'll look like I'm all businessy up front. Yeah, there'll be pajama pants down below, which there are right now. Nothing really stops me from that. So, that's basically all I have. I won't see you again until March. Get those snuggles done. I have the one I want to finish. Hopefully that will get finished. Oh my god. I take on too much stuff. That's my problem. The important thing is, I will get this blanket done. I have a basket of scrap yarn, so this should be interesting. Either way, I hope next week to say I finished the 2nd row and I'm on the 3rd row, which will probably not be that hard. I can average a couple of them a week, or a couple of them a night. Ooh. And I'm not going to touch the less is more until I get a new needle, because that is just... Life's too short to knit with crap needles. If I was doing something straight, it'd be fine. But it's the fact that it's what I'm trying to accomplish with it is just not working. So, I think that's all the interesting things I have for you. It's been a very boring week here otherwise. I've got a bunch of stuff to play with, which is what I'm going to do. And in the interim, I hope everyone has a wonderful week. I hope you get your snuggles done and in on time. Maybe you'll win. There's going to be a lot of prizes. I told you who I am. Check the Knitter's Nightmare board for any updates on the yarn. Check the Ravelry group, the Yarnivorous Ravelry group, for any other fun happenings. We usually have some spin-alongs and knit-alongs and what have you going on behind the scenes that I never talk about anyway. And it's not that I never talk about them because I never talk about them, it's I forget about them. And I will see everybody next week.